Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Friday night. Let's just tell some stories. It was 1994. I was living in Santa Cruz, California. It was kind of a low life back in those days, up to no good. I mean, that was my history since I was 10 years old. It wasn't just a little phase. I went through a bad phase, a couple years of being a criminal. I was a criminal from the time I was 10. I joined my first gang at 10 years old, and I was always the man with the plan, bad influence, getting into all kinds of stuff. Moved all over the country and got into all kinds of stuff everywhere I would go. I dropped into Santa Cruz and immediately hooked up with the wrong people and became a drug dealer. And you know, it's one thing if you're just selling weed. People that buy weed aren't really that bad, but the hard drugs, people that buy hard drugs can be awfully weird and creepy. And I kind of knew this cast of characters around town that were involved in the game in some level, whether they were connections or hookups or just people that you see. One such character who was rather sleazy was this hippie. I see him around all over. I used to see this guy at the bar. I'd see him at parties. I'd just see him everywhere. We weren't really friends, but I knew him, and I'd known him for years. Sold him a couple bags. And on one of the times that he bought from me, he didn't have money, so I fronted him. Don't ever front people, you drug dealers out there. That credit, forget it. Biggie Smalls said it in one of his songs, the 10 Crack Commandments. You just go write those down. Listen to that song and go write that shit down. That'll teach you everything you need to know. So I give this guy credit, I front him, and of course he doesn't pay me back. Teach me my lesson. It wasn't that much money, but it was annoying. I wasn't gonna break his legs, but I definitely cut him off, you know. And if I see him, I want my money. I mean, I don't let shit go, I want my money. And it's funny because I was seeing him everywhere up until that point, and then I didn't see him anywhere. He just disappeared. I'm walking downtown with my brother, and downtown Santa Cruz is really nice. A lot of stores and really lively, and it was, geez, maybe 6 o'clock in the evening, just getting dark. Right past the pizza parlor, one of the pizza places I like to go to, and because they had big slices. You could just get one slice. Most pizza places, you get a couple slices, get the 2 slice in a drink deal. This place, you just get one, because the fucking pizza slice is, you know, the size of a trash can lid. And they had an alleyway right next to them, and the alleyway is rather tight, and it looks kind of like out of a movie because they're 2 brick buildings and they look kind of old, and they have fire escapes and, you know, dumpsters and homeless people and all that. And right next to the dumpster, right in the alleyway, there's that hippie motherfucker who owes me some money. He's taking a piss. His back is facing me, but I recognize him right away. I recognize him. He's always wearing the same clothes. I dart off. My brother didn't even know what happened. He's in the middle of a sentence. We're talking. He's in the middle of a sentence saying something. I just dart off into the alleyway. He's all annoyed. He's like, what the fuck? I grab the guy behind the shirt and toss him into the dumpster and close the fucking dumpster. And I was like, you know, said something snappy, some kind of Bruce Willis type of shit. That's what you get, motherfucker, or something. I forget what I said. I said something like that. You always got to finish it off with something cool. When you do shit like that, you got to have a good thing to say afterwards. It's the way it works. I go back out the alleyway. My brother's annoyed, and he's like, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, fuck that motherfucker. So, you know, I go back to the house. I'm chilling, watching TV. My girlfriend comes over, and we watch a movie. Hanging out all night long. She goes to bed. I was still awake. I just had energy, I guess. I'm sitting up alone, watching TV, smoking a joint. And I started thinking about that guy in the dumpster, and I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have locked it. It's one thing, you know, it's nothing. It would have been fine just to throw him in there, but why did I have to take it that next step and actually lock the dumpster? So I felt bad. she's fast asleep, and it wasn't too late. Maybe it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that, maybe 2. And I was like, ah, fuck. I better go rescue him, because he could die in there. What if I just killed a guy? I better go check on him. I wasn't far from downtown, 5-minute drive from fucking downtown. I jump in the truck, drive downtown. Nobody's down there. It's pretty dead at that point. And but the pizza place was still open. They're open till 3, deliveries, whatever. And I look into that alleyway, and it was like a light from the lamppost just shining perfectly on the padlock. Everything else is dark, but that fucking padlock was like glowing in that alleyway, and I was like, damn it. I was fantasizing that I'd get down there and the padlock would be gone, and the dumpster would be open, and I could just be like, he got out of there. It's no big deal. And it's still locked. It was like 6 hours later. This is way later. He's still in there. So I go back to the truck. I always had a toolbox in the truck. Get out the hammer. Always have a hammer in your toolbox. And one good whack, bam, it was just a little padlock. I smashed that padlock right off. I flipped the latch open, and as soon as I flip the latch, the lid goes flying open, and he comes busting out, and he's like all red, and he's like, oh, God damn it. He's pissed as shit. He sees me, and he's just like, man, Sky, someone locked me in there. I've been screaming for hours. He's like, fuck this town, fuck everybody in this town. I've been screaming for hours and hours, help me, nobody help me. He's like, God damn it. He's furious. And he's like, thank you so much for helping me. He's like, I could have died in there. And he's just catching his breath, and I help him out. And I was like, I want my fucking money, man. And he was like, yeah, no problem, dude. And he's still just in this, that was like sensory deprivation. I'm sure it was a nightmare for him. So he was like, can you take me to the ATM? You got your truck? And I was like, yeah, get in. So we get in the truck, and I take him to the ATM, which was downtown, right down there. We didn't have to go far, a couple blocks down. He gets my money, and he's like, what are you up to, man? He's like, can I, you want to get high or something? He's like, I got some shit. And I was just like, dude, I got my money. I'm just going home. And he's like, how about some pizza? Let me buy. He's like, I got to help you out. So we go back to the restaurant, to the pizza place, and we get some slices. There's one each. Big giant slices. And we're eating the pizza, and he's just like, thank you, brother, thank you. I owe you. And I finally had to stop him. And I was just like, dude, I was the one who locked you in that fucking dumpster, motherfucker. That's what you get. And he was devastated. He was like, whoa. He's like, that's so fucked up. He's like, that really hurts my feelings. And I was like, well, you should have paid me my money. You've been ducking me, asshole. And he sat there silent for a minute, and he was just like, I'm really sorry, Sky. He's just like, you know, you're right. And he's just like, man, I think this brings us closer as friends. And he stands up, and he's like, why don't we hug? Because he's a hippie, and hippies like to hug. And he's like, come on, let's hug it out, bro. I told him right there, I was just like, motherfucker, you touch me, I will put you right back in that goddamn dumpster. But that's how I got to sleep that night, was helping him out. I knew I took it too far. I don't know if there's a moral in this story. Maybe there is somewhere buried in there. Always do the right thing. Thanks for watching.